Vice Chancellor, Dasho Dr. Pema Thinley, Excellencies, distinguished guests and participants, I thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dasho Dr. Pema Thinley, for inviting me to address this conference. I am truly humbled in the presence of such a distinguished gathering, a gathering consisting of highly eminent educationists from Bhutan and other countries that have already made admirable contributions to education and universities. I am confident that we will receive advice and guidance that will take us on the right path. This conference, I understand, aims to stimulate research-based and theoretical discourses on the role of creative universities in enhancing human well-being and effectively advancing the notions and potentials of creative development. I believe that Bhutan already has the basic foundation and the enabling environment to move in the direction envisaged by the International Creative Universities Network, ICUN. Bhutan has a forward-looking development paradigm that is gross national happiness, or GNH. To the best of our knowledge, GNH covers all aspects of what peace-loving human beings desire and should pursue in life. The Bhutanese are a religious people, but even when it comes to religion, in Buddhism, one seeks refuge and calls for dialogue regarding its beliefs and practices. And this enhances deeper understanding, interconnectedness, and ultimately satisfaction and happiness. We believe in compassion and tolerance. Of course, we are not perfect and make mistakes and even go astray at times. But we believe that as long as human beings are considerate and tolerant, live in peace, and care for the benefit and welfare of the society they live in, resolve differences amicably through dialogue and non-violent means, one can lead meaningful lives in a multicultural, ethnically diverse, and multi-religious society. And anyway, this is the nature of most societies in the world today. As long as these principles are adhered to, and the government and people make genuine efforts to act according to them, then society can pursue higher, richer, and better quality of life for its inhabitants. While it was our fourth king, His Majesty Jigme Singye Wangchuk, who put forward the concept of GNH and gave the gift of democracy to his people in 2008, our present monarch, His Majesty Jigme Geser Namgyel Wangchuk, in his great wisdom and compassion, has been consciously and vigorously putting GNH into action. This is being done by directly looking into people's welfare, that is, among other things, through land distribution, disaster relief, and looking after the socially and economically disadvantaged. Besides, there is the objective and apolitical royal oversight of education activities and outcomes, and how these impact the common man. His Majesty's visits to homes and hearts of the people in the remotest areas of the kingdom in order to look after people's welfare enhances the understanding of the problems that our rural folk confront. And it is only through such understanding that one can find the best possible solutions to their difficulties. This royal involvement undoubtedly has an impact on Bhutan's future and overall development, including the nature of education. The Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Pema Thinley, a champion of GNH and a dedicated, forward-looking educationist, is in one of the university's biannual newsletters mentioned excellence in teaching, research, services, and community engagement within the overarching vision of gross national happiness is the primary goal of the Royal University of Bhutan. The Vice-Chancellor's statement, in a way, indicates a direction for Bhutan's universities in future. Let me now try to briefly explain what we understand about gross national happiness. In order to clarify and define GNH, our economists have constructed the four main pillars of GNH, and these are socio-economic development, cultural promotion, environmental or ecological conservation, and good governance. These are then subdivided into the 9 domains that are targeted by development planners while formulating and implementing development plans. These are physical health and life expectancy of people, mostly through a free healthcare and referral system. Educational attainment, mostly through free and compulsory education. Income distribution through social services and kidus, defined as help given on grounds of compassion, granted by His Majesty's establishment, and equal opportunities. Cultural diversity and practice, time use and balance, psychological well-being, community vitality, ecological integrity and resilience, governance quality. In fact, here in Bhutan, we also have the Gross National Happiness Commission that lays down development policies and oversees the development process. The Commission has to ensure that DNH is mainstreamed into planning, policy making, and implementation. The objectives given in its mandate strengthens the enabling environment. And these are, firstly, developing a dynamic economy as the foundation for a vibrant democracy. Second, harmonious living in harmony with tradition and nature. Thirdly, effective and good governance. And most importantly, our people, investing in the nation's greatest asset. And this is where education plays a crucial role in the policy and planning process. Hence, the Bhutanese government and society strive to achieve these goals and objectives in all aspects of the nation's life. Despite Bhutan's sometimes high-flown pronouncements of its GNH development philosophy, Bhutan is still some way from enjoying what should be the outcomes of GNH. But what is important to realize is that the direction has been quite firmly set, and this is in itself an important achievement. The decision makers, political parties, donors and well-wishers, the government and people should be aware and supportive of the path that the country has decided to follow. So, as can be seen, the best environment for human development is peace, stability, and a people-centered leadership, and a constitution that endorses all these, which are central to Bhutan's GNH pursuits. In this way, we can be said to be moving along the right path. This also provides a firm foundation and the enabling environment for creative universities and learning as envisaged by ICUN. Today, we need to think beyond what we have achieved thus far with the education system that we have been pursuing so far. Society and the world are not stagnant. Population increases. People's demands and expectations rise. This Himalayan landlocked country is no longer isolated. We are in a globalized and an interconnected world through knowledge transmission, travel, television, the internet, social media, and telecommunications. We are exposed to lifestyles and consumer societies. And above all, the majority of our people have to make a living and look after families like everywhere else in the world. This is where gross domestic product, or GDP, and economic development, employment, and growth comes in. This is where business and industry and personal incomes come into play, and our schools and universities and the nature of education and how it adapts according to changing times and circumstances will play a crucial role in meeting the aspirations of the people. The education system in Bhutan has expanded rapidly over the last half a century. To cater to the needs of the country, our people have achieved a lot of success through education and made the country what it is now. Health and well-being, both social and economic, of the people have also greatly expanded because of our development plans and approaches. The teaching profession has evolved and improved greatly over the past decade or so, but much remains to be done, and done as expeditiously as possible. We have to pay special attention to attracting the best possible teaching faculties. Among other things, professors and teachers, as well as students, will seek good living conditions and other facilities for themselves and their families. And this requires considerable and consistent investments. We will have to resolve the issue of such inputs that universities will require for creating the physical facilities that are so essential to the life and work of people in universities. This is a serious constraint for a country like Bhutan, and yet this is one of the keys to attaining the objectives that we have laid down or envisage for the future. While the education provided by the government is free of cost, quality and content have come into question. And again, because of overwhelming demand, private institutions have been permitted to supplement those of the government. But they need close supervision on policy and content. On the other hand, the government has been making serious efforts to send students abroad for higher and specialized education. These approaches have gone a long way in meeting the demands for talent and skills required for Bhutanese economic growth and development. However, there seems to be a growing disconnect between the education imparted and the jobs market in today's dynamic and ever-changing economy. Is this because universities are considered only as degree-awarding machines for students? Do they receive sufficient guidance on career options? Or are they drifting through a degree course aimlessly? Those students coming through the education system that has not kept up to changing times cannot seem to get the jobs they seek. We know that this is a global phenomenon, but this excuse will not excuse our system's inability to provide jobs for the growing numbers that graduate out of universities and colleges annually. How can this situation be effectively addressed? The employment issue of the growing numbers of educated people has been of great concern. Educated persons are reluctant to do menial or even manual jobs, stay in rural areas and in farming occupations. This has increased rural-urban migration, emptying out some of our villages and crowding our towns, especially the capital, Thimphu. The government is grappling with the issue of employment creation. They have gone to the extent of finding jobs and sending Bhutanese job seekers to other countries because of the economy's inability to create more and appropriate jobs. On the other hand, with Bhutan's population of 633,000 people, today we have 50,000 imported labor in various occupations. What disruptions this approach will cause to Bhutanese society are still to be fathomed. At the recently held Better Business Summit here in Thimphu, one of the discussions was education for the future. It noted, while the presence of education in Bhutan has exploded over the past decades, there appears to be a mismatch between supply and demand of talent. Youth complain that they can't find jobs, and business owners can't seem to find the employees they are looking for. In this context, it is essential for business and industry, governments, researchers, and others who provide employment to interact with universities to be able to draw up specific courses for students that would fit into their requirements as future employers. This would be an important way for educational institutions to contribute to greater employment and development. Finally, I hope that your discussions here in the land of GNH will bear rich dividends and contribute greatly to human development and to peace and prosperity for all. I hope the Bhutanese side will take full advantage of the presence of such distinguished participants and be able to establish academic linkages and networks, opportunities for research collaborations, and learn from international best practices. I also hope that we receive good recommendations on how we should proceed with establishing creative universities of the future, all towards greater human welfare, peace, and happiness. Thank you, and Tashidele.